Hey guys, and today I'm bringing you a blue-red mill deck splashing white for Gideon, zendikar, and some other things. So for the mana base, we have 5 mountains, 2 islands, 1 plains, two evolving wilds, 4 flooded strand, and basically the evolving wilds and the flooded strand gives us cards in the graveyard to fuel dig through time early on and later on in the game. Then we got 4 shivan reef, 1 blighted cataract just for card advantage if we have no hand or just want to trigger swing tutelage a bunch more times. We can do that, and well, yeah. Then we carry on with 2 missing monasteries, 3 blue-red gain lands, and 2 tango lands, the white and blue, to search up for with our flush strand. So let's go on with the spells. First of all, we have 3 magmatic insight. Magmatic insight gives us card selection and triggers our swing tutelage. The great thing about it is it costs 1 red mana to cast, and it's good early on in the game. Just turn 1, smash it down, discard a land, and we'll probably draw into more land and draw into our swing tutelage if we don't have it. Okay, so next we got 3 Fiery Impulse. It's a good card. We're running it over Wall Slash because we don't actually want to kill our opponent to damage to the face. We actually want to control the board and win him by milling him out. Then this card allows us to kill Monster Riders with the spell mastery ability and other 3 toughness things, and also 2 toughness. So it's pretty cool. And we will always have spell mastery because we discarding things to magmatic insight, to tormenting voice, and we don't run any creatures in the main or the sideboard. So yeah, pretty cool. And we're running 3 dispel just to protect our Sphinx tutelage from any counters or Dromoka's commands or just enchantment hate. So yeah, and then we're running 1 negate, copy of negate, for basically the same thing, but it is planeswalkers that we suffer a lot from. We got 1 Valorous. I just put it here because our roasts don't kill dragons, and we do suffer a lot from that dragons because it can just fly over our tokens that we get from Gideon and just kill him. So I will the first ability, the indestructible, a creature against indestructible, unrelevant, just maybe for a hanging back walker that they want to kill and get a bunch of stoppers. Next we got 1 roast just for the Abzan and just like for any creature that's not flying, for like Jaces early on, and Grandmasters, so for Grandmasters, for any other spells, creature spells. Then we run 4 tormenting voice, the same reason that we run for magmatic insight. It is a bit different. It's 2 casting costs, but we can discard any card instead of just a land card. It allows us to trigger our Swing tutelage. Speaking of Swing tutelage, here we go. So if you haven't heard about it, it's enchantment for 3. Whenever you draw a card, basically, your opponent target opponent puts the top 2 cards from his or her library into his graveyard, and if the 2 spells share color, like for example, if we get this Jeskai ascendency and this Radiant Flames, they both share red, so they would repeat this process until like they don't share color. So we win by milling him out or her out. We win with this card. We can also win with Gideon, zendikar, or Ugin in the sideboard, but this is the main win condition. Next, we have one Jeskai ascendency. For me, it's the second best card after Sphinx tutelage in the deck, because we're just running one because we don't really want to flood out in them. We just want one on the battlefield, and I just couldn't find any more space for it for another copy of it. So it's really relevant because all our spot removals or mass removals get to loot. Even if we have a harmless archive, we can draw 2, discard 1, and we get card advantage. Really good. And also, if you're running Jace, maybe the first ability is relevant, but in this deck it isn't really relevant. But for 3 mana, it is really worth it, and I love it. Next, we have 4 Radiant Flames, and yes, this is for the aggro matchup for attack red, for mono red, and maybe even for Jeskai. And basically, it just gives us a reset to the board, and it is basically really good. If you can duplicate it with pyromancer's goggles, it is basically a planar outburst, but for red, and it's much cooler because you can use it for 2, for 1, and make our tokens from Gideon survive. And then we got one singular planar outburst. If we get removed, if all our Swiss tutelage get removed, we still have a winning condition with this, with the Awaken, or even Gideon, or Ugin with the sideboard. But this just gives the board the reset, and we're just running 1 because of the double white casting cost. Then the all-star is Gideon, Planeswalker, which the +1 makes him a 5/5 indestructible. Well, we won't use that ability a lot. We just want to use them defensively 0, and we don't want to use the -4 ability. And basically, we just want to hold out until we get our Sphinx tutelage and just basically kind of combo off. Gideon is like basically a wall that they have to get through. We have 1 pyromancer's goggles. It just duplicates our draw spells and makes them awesome. Because if we have this and the Harmless Archive on the battlefield, we get to duplicate the spell and draw double. So basically, if I do a magmatic inside with this, I would just tap it, discard a land, cast it, draw 4, double it, draw 8, and just basically destroy my opponent. Then we have Alhammarret archive, the third favorite card of the deck. The fourth one is this one, actually, and the third is this one. It just makes all our draw spells twice as effective, and our gain land, this card, our gain land, makes it much effectiver, getting 2 life instead of 1. We can also run Oju's command. We can also run, if you want to put it into the deck, with Jace, Rinse Prodigy. It'd be pretty cool because it's really good. Then Treasure Cruise, one of the best cards in the deck. Just for basically, we will always cast it for 1 mana. Drawing 3 for 1 mana is perfect. Just really good. And yeah, this is basically to fuel the tutelage. Next, we got our sideboard. For the sideboard, we have 1. I don't know what to call it in English. It's in Spanish. Well, one of the Swift Reckoning. That's the card. We got 1 Swift Reckoning for all the dragons that we will sideboard into. 1 negate just for the control matchups. Actually, 2 negate. Yes, 2 negate for the control matchups, and actually all our counters are for the control matchups. all the counters, all the dispels. We bring in the fourth one, and the Safel Stroke also, just to counter their addicted times, Ojitais maybe, and Solngars or whatever, just to counter them, and yep, disrupt him as much as possible. And we bring in the negate and the dispel for against counters, against our tutelage. We have one Valor stands the same thing as for Swift Reckoning for the dragons, because we really suffer from dragons. So yep. And also the negates we'll bring in against planeswalker type decks, go-to planeswalkers, and yeah, well, like Super Friends decks and everything like this. Then this card, I don't remember what's it called in English. Well, this card is for the Hangback Walkers deck because it's super good. Even if they run Dromoka's Comment, we can just put it down with a swing of tutelage and having it on a Hangback Walker, and when they destroy it, the Hangback comes in with 0 counters, and it dies, and they don't get anything out of it. So it's super, super good. Next is Fire Impulse, the fourth one, just for the aggro matchups that we suffer from. So yeah, not much to say. And a new card, Talent of the Telepath. Haven't seen this one for a while. So basically, another way to mill our opponent 7 cards just off the bat. And also, we will bring in this against decks like Jeskai that have Crackling Doom, Jeskai Black, or Wild Slash. We can cast this, kill our opponent's creatures, and it's pretty nice. Yep, we're running 2 of them. Next is 2 Roast, basically for the Absent matchup and Absent aggro matchup where nothing flies apart from maybe Wingway Rock, but I haven't seen much of them. So yeah, we're bringing this against Seed Rhino and Offensa, Warden of the Fresh Tree, and basically a lot of things. So it's super nice. Then the last card, we bring this in against mid-rangey to control decks. Ugin is the best card I've ever seen. Maybe the 8 mana cost puts you off, but it is really good. The -X ability just clears the board, and the +2 just gets rid of a creature, and the -10 just gets us back into the game if we like are behind on something. So yep, this was the last card of the deck. So this is the whole deck. Let me collect the lands. This is the whole deck, and so yeah, I've been playtesting this a little bit, and I really like it. It suffers a lot from really fast decks, but against the control and mid-range G-type decks, it's really good. I think it's really competitive. It is okay on the budget, but it isn't really expensive unless you want to buy all the Jaces for like $200 or $200 to $300 with the Jaces. But yeah, so I think I really enjoy playing this deck. I have lots of fun. It might be not the most competitive deck. You might win on like a PBTQ, but not on like a Pro Tour. But yeah, it's really nice. I liked it when it first like was seen play in Origins, but there was lots of hate. Like the card that gets Stay in the Mind. Yeah, that's the name of the card. That just get rid of all of the Swift tutelages that you have. I actually played um the blue green with Fog's deck type of deck on the game day of Origins, and I didn't win it. I won the next day with a Jeskai deck, Jeskai aggro deck, which you see the playmat I have from the victory. So yeah, bye guys.